Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Start From Zer0. I'm really excited to introduce my friend and guest for today's episode 2, with Gabriel Sanford. Say hello.
Hello. Hello.
What's up, people? So Gabe and I met, oh my gosh, how long ago? Like 8-9 years ago?
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. But it
What's
was
the last time that you played with
Sacto Storyteller.
Yeah, we'll say that.
It was for the Oak Park event.
That was the first
block party. So I think that was January of 2016.
Yeah.
Holy moly. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years that I've known Gabe, and we've known each other or kind of online.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the first time that we met in person, because we've known each other, I think, like a couple of years.
Oh, prior to that.
To that.
When I started Dash, I believe. And that was before my event retreat, which was something I started on my own just as an idea. Actually, I was bartending in San Francisco at the time at Speakeasy Brewery as a beer tender. And one of the other bartenders there that I worked with pretty frequently, for some reason, we just always had the same schedule, but he was a DJ and he was always talking about how he wanted to do an event, and I was into promotion. And so him and I talked about that a long time ago before I came back and lived in Oak Park when I got back from San Francisco. And that's when I started my event retreat, where you found me.
Yeah, I think.
I can't remember how that happened.
It was one of those things. And the artist told me about you, like how there was a couple, she's doing this thing, I was like, you should hit her up and stuff like this. And at the time, I'm like, okay, whoever's doing anything, I'm always adding them on Facebook. And
oh yeah, you're like the master at networking on Facebook.
Yeah.
Seriously, every time I saw any event online that was art related, it always had your name on it for some reason. At the time, not for some reason, you were really good at doing promo.
Yeah.
You were consistent. That's the thing. I think you were very, very consistent comparatively to most people as a curator and artist.
That was the one thing that I knew how. I was like, okay, I knew how to do. I'm gonna keep consistency, and like, I know.
Did you have any like teachers in that realm? You just kind of took.
I just dove into it, and I kind of like trial and error.
Yeah.
The first that whole thing was like, seriously, there was a ton of little things over the first couple of years that I'm like, okay, what can I do better?
Well, yeah. So did you have a mentor? How did you get started in curation?
When I was going to ARC, I took a gallery class of like how gallery operations, and they were teaching you how to actually put on a show and how to run the stuff, like, and
the business side of it, basically.
Yeah, like I just picked up on like I dove into what I like, because like putting on, handling the work, getting to know the artist. I actually interned at a gallery for a couple of years. I enjoyed behind the scenes. That's what I enjoyed better than anything else.
Right, the actual like productions.
Production, like the actual like to get to know the artist, like these true feeling. At the openings, the artist is always putting on a show.
Right, it's true.
And
we know we always have to show face, If you don't show up, then no one's not gonna know who you are. And that's how we market and network ourselves as artists.
Exactly. And so like I always like to hear the not so PG stories that they have to go. It's like fun stuff like that. And
we've got a few.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My friend Tony Allen, but he actually was the one that first got me introduced to this gallery called Vox. VOX.
VOX?
Yeah, it's a non-profit gallery putting on like these big group shows, and around the same time I actually first met you too.
I was wondering, is that like the Rustaller show that was underground?
That actually, Vox was...
That was on K Street,
yeah,
right?
That was on K Street, but that actually, because of Vox, got me connected to to that show.
Oh yeah, okay. For those who don't know, this was probably around the same time, like 2016, 2017 era, where Jose Di Gregorio was really getting his name out there a lot. Like, he was a main artist, I think, of that show. But then there were like 20 other artists that's kind of, if you don't mind me saying, your forte is like the group show thing. Although you do focus now with Tony Allen, right? That you guys do not just the group shows, but the solo, like highlighting the up and coming artists, right? Through your event called You Are Here.
That's what I did evolved into, because it was like both Tony and I were always doing like
you're just working behind the scenes, right?
Yeah. It's because like once Fox kind of went their way, I started to do Cafe Colonial. I was doing shows also still, which led me.
And that was in the Oak Park location?
Yeah.
Right.
Which led me to actually helping out the Body Tribe. Like they are putting on those shows, which led me like anything. It's kind of funny. Why when one of the shows about to end, another just pops up?
That's what you want. You want to stay busy. So how do you guys stay busy? How do you guys stay connected with the artists? In other words, I guess let's say, so you guys have Old Soul, right? This is a personal relationship, a business relationship.
Yeah. Post-COVID, I actually was just getting back into it. My friend Lynn Fei from A Space in Between, she just started that, and she invited me out to actually walk there for a while.
And that location, a Space in Between, was on C Street, correct? I think.
I believe so.
I think, yeah. Unfortunately, they just closed that location, but we are looking forward to hearing more from Faye and her collaborators.
Yes, and like, but it's like through all like what was funny was like one of the owners from Old Soul actually came to the art show, and they were talking about how he was wanting to do more art stuff, but his thing was coffee. He wanted to showcase art and stuff like that. And they were like,
it's cool. So he wanted to focus his attention on local artists.
Yeah.
As well.
I know that Weatherstone and like they have had like art displayed for years, but it wasn't really kind of like it
wasn't like an event.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was like random, like, oh, I have some stuff up.
But you guys actually like showcase the artists, and you also not interview them, but do you interview them sometimes?
Yes, we do at times. We want to do more of that. There's a lot of things that we are actually in the works with Chris and Dave's like, talk to Gabe. He knows
like the business savvy side.
Yeah,
right?
He knows how to put on art shows. He knows the artists around. I'm like, from that, at first I was just trying to do Weatherstone.
Oh, okay.
And like with a couple meetings, it was just like 2 meetings. You realized that I could actually put on stuff at the Weatherstone, the Alley, and
40 Acres.
40 Acres locations. And they're like,
and those are all owned by the same company, Old Soul, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Sacramento, there are 3 different locations, and all 3 are being managed by you guys doing art curation.
Side of stuff. Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. How did you get connected with that deal?
But that was just like
for people who are just starting out, you know what I mean? Like you started from zero. So how did you meet this person? How did you build that relationship?
It was just honestly
word of mouth.
Word of mouth, because all of my stuff that I've like been doing was always.
It comes back to that consistency.
Yeah, the consistency of doing shows, being there at the kind of thing, and everybody knew that I was at this. Yeah, like this, because I put on all these shows at these different venues, they knew that I was like,
Right, you've been doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad people actually are really collaborating in the artist realm of curation, because it was a really competitive thing, I think, when I first started out, and I didn't realize it until I started doing events, because I just had an idea. I wanted to do it, and I went out there and I did it. I got connected because I spoke what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I knew that, like you're saying, word of mouth gets around, and eventually people will contact you.
Yeah. I went at it as like, hey, I want you to come showcase here, but I also want to help you promote stuff. Let me help you get your art show stuff. Again, it's like a collaboration kind of thing.
You've given me some books, even like ethical guidelines for artists. I think it was
the graphic design
ethical guidelines.
Yeah,
legal and Anyway, we'll post it in the
So
description.
that was actually, and that's something that when I was going to ARC, I was like, I picked up on these things like, oh, you know what, I always kept the updated versions of these, and I'm like, okay, this
It's
was
so invaluable. What you don't realize when you're a starting out artist and curator is that there's a lot of legal things that aren't necessarily taught right off the bat that you end up learning down the line when it's already too late and you're getting into some trouble, even though you have all the best intentions in the world.
Yeah.
Have you ever had issues with legal trouble? I personally have not, but by the grace of God, because honestly, it could happen to anybody for any reason.
So like there has been times where I've made mistakes. Of course, any kind of event, so there's going to be times where
you have to bite the bullet.
You know, like, and there has been a lot. Like,
what are some things that you learned in your, pursuit of curation?
The latest thing that I've actually been focusing on is that I need to be more aware of sales and being like more consistency of what is sold and what hasn't sold.
Receipts and
who bought something and doesn't, because I'm all over the place. I'm like, I have a hard time keeping track.
Seems like you and Tony are a great fit for each other. You keep each other in check, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's more of like he could explain anything. He's more like has a better way of like vocalizing what we both are connected with. You know, like I'm the type of person like I want to show you what I'm doing, and Tony's more like, okay, I can explain what the whole philosophy behind the stuff. When I first started talking to the owners of Old Soul, Tony came back to the States. He was living over in China for a couple of years. He was back to the States, and we were like, okay, we need to do something. Like, we both are now at this time, each of us have been in the art scene for over 15, 20 years. We have a better idea of who does what and who's out there. So we were like, okay, let's figure out how to build on this idea, because Sacramento hasn't had a place where like artists can go to figure out how to get into it, how to get a show.
It can be really intimidating. If you're just starting out, it feels very cliquey. Personally, I felt that way just because I didn't grow up in Sacramento and I didn't go to a college nearby for art. So I just literally threw myself in.
Yeah. So of course, there's a lot of like smaller groups around town that like, okay, let's get together and do this.
Did you just email people? Find their email and just contact them?
I purposely went to each of the like showings, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna
like to other art shows.
Other art shows, like just introduce myself, and that's
networking.
No, exactly.
Telling you, that's the number one thing that you need to learn in any business venture is how to market, not just talking about yourself, but how to listen, and how to ask questions.
And that's the thing, is that all things I've learned over the times is like during openings, you don't want to actually do a sales pitch at an opening. You want to just, hey, love the show. My name is Gabe Sanford. Like, I'm an artist, and just keep it brief. Like, and then
have a business card.
Have a business card. And you find out if they have like social media, and like to figure out how to.
Like, worst case scenario, get an Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook.
Some way to direct message.
Exactly.
But you need that contact information if you're going to get started in building those bridges, right? Were those the building blocks of your process?
Yeah. And that's sort of like how I first figured out who was really active. He was like actually the people that I should talk to, and like
they kind of weed themselves out, right? The people who aren't as serious.
And exactly. There's always going to be that artist that comes in, it has an impact, and then they move on. But it's like,
have you had people cancel last minute?
I've had more people cancel me last minute, or artists just vanish on me.
If somebody who is a starting out artist, they have no experience in booking themselves for shows, they show up to one of your events, right? Let's say they're like fresh out of college, just as an example. And they're just like, I have no idea who to talk to. I'm too terrified to talk to these big artists in town. They're scary or whatever. And they come to one of your shows and they just introduce themselves to you. what kind of expectation do you have of them in order for you to take them seriously as an artist? What like first impression would you like?
Just a brief introduction, because when I'm in the like opening mode, I'm not gonna remember big spills. I can't remember face. I can't remember you gave me a business card or give me something where I could reach out to
like
you.
Something tangible.
It's like, hey, I just messaged you on like Instagram or something. Afterwards, that's when we like actually follow up, talk to you more about it. I always tell artists, if they're just starting out, you have to actually have a style or like something that you actually like. A piece isn't gonna get you into a show.
Right. You can't just have like one good piece.
Yeah.
You have to have a collection.
Like,
how many do you think?
I always tell people like a good solo show, like it's 10 to 15 pieces.
That's what I've always heard.
The bill minimum.
I'm talking about what sizes, because you can be very vague, and that could take up like the size of this table.
Yeah.
Or it could take up the size of this entire apartment. You know, it's depending on the size. So usually, typically for these shows, you're not booking 10 to 15 pieces per artist, right? Are you? And then the sizes are smaller.
One of the first questions I ask is, how big is your work? If you're doing like a 4 feet by 5 feet paintings, yeah, I might only need 4 or 5 pieces.
For a solo show?
Or so, yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, if you do a whole bunch of 5 by 5 pieces in the small things. Of course, you can need
5 inch by 5 inch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
not 5 feet. That's not small.
Well, 5 inch by 5. Yeah, that like it all depends on the thing. But what I always tell people is like, what I base the 10 to 15 pieces, like, okay, 10 to 15, 16 by 20s, whatever space that equals to.
Right.
You know, so like if you have
like 11 to 16, 18 by
11 by 14, 16 by 20, 18 by 24.
There you go. You get it first.
Frame shop. Where I worked at Yellow Brothers for like 3 or 4 years, and it was drilled into.
I'm dyslexic, and that just messes me up. I can't. It's the dimensions.
Yeah.
Don't get me on dimensions or fractions. No thanks.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to my accountant.
I've had a hard time really remembering those different sites, and it's just the guy actually had to break down when people say 5 by 6. I'm like, okay, are you talking? Because I dealt with
inch or feet.
No, it's like inch or feet, people. Yeah, I need to know exactly. Am I looking at a big painting or a really small one?
Yeah,
you know, and
so you get kind of a mix of all, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're booking a group show, for example, which is coming up. Yes. When?
February 1st, we're gonna actually have a group show over at East Gallery.
I'm actually going to be a part of. Yay!
Yes, it's going to be
shameless self-promotion.
I know. We actually, it's kind of
it's like it's been in a long time. Okay, I'm allowed to say that. Whatever.
It's gonna be a fun big one though. It's good because we are in the talk. So I think we got
Is it like 20 artists?
Actually, closer to 35.
Holy moly! This better be a big venue, is it?
We are gonna fill the space up. So this is our second time here. And
which location is this?
It's at the East Street Gallery. It's 1115 East Street. We had a show last year, March of last year, and we had over 25 artists.
Oh my God!
And look, we still had a couple walls that we could actually fill up.
Wow.
Last year, we were spending the last couple hours of setup trying to figure out, trying to get a couple artists that do big works to fill up the last couple walls. So this time around, it's like, okay.
Do you usually have the artists there in person so people can talk to them about your art?
We always like to actually have the artists at the opening. They actually have them there, so if anybody wants to meet the artist, they'll get...
Right, ask questions about the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have the ability to actually be there, you know?
Yeah. Like when we did, shout out to Doug Rhodes. He booked me for a few years at the Treasure Fest, which is on Treasure Island in San Francisco. And you joined me for the last one of last year. And so that was really fun. And that's the way I like to do things, kind of gypsy style, not gonna lie, where I'm just like dragging around a little cart of art, and I set up this like little setup. I'll share a photo here. And basically I sell art out of a suitcase. And you were with me last time, and he's all professional. He's got his stuff on a table. It's all like presented in these beautiful binders. And I mean, that must have taken you a lifetime, dude. You have so much work.
Professor told me at ALC that you need to keep a portfolio of these things. And I was like, okay, I'll just, whenever I fill one up, I get another one at a different size. And it just happened over time.
How long have you been working on that? And don't even undersell yourself. How many pieces do you think you have in your full collection?
So I think it was like 48, 50 per binder. Well, probably close to 5.
Yeah, no kidding. I
binders.
can't even believe it.
Just it. That's the unfinished stuff. I have probably 40 to 50 framed works.
And those are all originals. Yes.
Original.
Yeah. Now, how would you describe your art to somebody who's never seen it, who can't see it on here, even though I will post an image right now?
It's funny because I could always talk about other people's work.
Of course. It's so much easier to do that.
It's like, I always tell people it's more like mosaic artworks, but
I would say that makes sense. It is a little bit mosaic. It's a bit symbolic.
Yeah. The biggest kind of influence I have is like MCS or the opt art, the optical
opt art.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like optical illusions.
Yeah.
Where you see things inside of other things.
Yeah. So I've seen a whole movement where these artists, but MCS also like kind of loosely connected with, but that did these really kind of geometric kind of abstractions. But this is all before the computer, but it's like, it looks like stuff that you would see that the dimensional should be colors and stuff like that.
Right.
So there's a lot of like I pull a lot of that stuff, and like over time I mixed that with some pop cultural references in them, aka my mouse with house.
Oh yeah, we gotta get into that. Okay, everyone, are you ready? I don't know if you're ready for this, but we have to discuss the legend of Jim Mouse. Yeah. Oh, wait, let's say it together. Ready? The legend of Jim Mouse.
There is a...
Which, by the way, I'm sorry to interject one more time. Jim Mouse was also inadvertently the mascot for my event, Retreat, because it was the triangle that I made, and it just so happened to be him. Do you remember that? There's a literal cult following of this mouse.
So
prepare yourselves.
It started off, originally I had no kind of inkling or even like desire to actually...
Weren't you drawing upside down?
Yeah, I was drawing this piece. It was when I was looking at it, it was just shapes. And it was just like, it was totally abstract, different shapes and stuff like that.
They call that like free flow.
Yeah, like, it was like, but what was different was I was taking the number 3, and inside of the number 3, I was using that as a shape. It's like, cool, like a shape I like to actually start placing all over the place. And I was like, okay, not thinking any of it. And I think it was one of my sisters or somebody walks up and looks like, they just looked at me like, oh, why are you drawing all these mice? And like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I actually have a thing, like, I hate mice. I hate this world. Like, I have this real kind of, I hate Disneyland because of the people are all dressed up as the curators.
There's a phobia, and I will post it right here. I can't remember what it's called, but a literal phobia.
Yeah, which I am so
yeah. No, I've seen it, and it's hilarious, but it's also not funny. Sorry.
But it's funny that I actually evolved the person that saw it. They actually had to turn the piece around, and for me to actually see I was like, no, there is not.
Yeah,
they actually they turn around. I was like, yeah, see this? It's all these little mouse peeking up. I'm like, oh hell! And And actually, like during that time, I actually had a couple other drawings that I started that actually had that same kind of shape. And I'm like, oh my god, like
It's haunting you.
it's popping up in these other books and stuff like that. And
I swear to you, you never told me before that it was the number 3.
yeah, it was the number.
Oh, what the heck? Was it a stencil?
Yeah, like I actually
It
had.
was like the number 3.
That was the number 3.
Shut up.
Oh, well, yeah.
That makes so much sense.
I had all these friends were like, you should draw him. What does he actually look like? Why is he hiding? I'm like,
Oh,
why?
because yeah, he's always hiding like behind.
Yeah, it's just his eyes and ears
Something.
looking look like yeah. So I'm like, okay, I might as flush this whole idea out, like, and that was like one of the first
Oh my God.
drawings that I did.
That's sorry.
So the one of the first drawings I did of him is like honestly, that's the most Mickey looking drawing that I did, but it looked like an evil kind of. I called my evil Mickey at the beginning. I'm like
the anti-Mickey?
yeah, the evil Mickey.
Yeah.
Look how like double red eyes and just really kind of it just
A
look.
thing of nightmares,
Yeah,
basically.
this is back in MySpace days too.
Oh yeah.
So I posted
Legendary.
that as my like profile pic in on MySpace.
At all.
No, it's like so like over time I did all these little things, like not really knowing what that it didn't really have an official name or anything like that.
Like it didn't have any meaning,
Yeah.
really, right? It
Yeah.
just manifested itself.
Exactly. And it's just okay.
If it was like Harold in a purple crayon, it would have drawn itself.
Yeah.
And did it draw itself with abs, or am I imagining that?
No. So, but it was like
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm jumping the gun.
it was, yeah.
I'm crying already. This is too
But like back in like MySpace, there is the group from Joshua Tree reached out to me on MySpace back in the day, talking about how my curator is such a spiritual being, and I'm a true Druid, and since a Jewish artist that I'm drawing this holy being, this mouse thing. I'm like, yeah, here I am. I'm like, okay, this is strange, but I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like hunt me down? And I'm like, oh,
well,
we'll get into that spot. The more I talked to them, the stranger they got, and at one point they would start calling me start each message like, "Hey Jim, how's your mouse?" I'm like, first of all, my name is Gabe. What the hell do you get this Jim? But I come to realize on my MySpace I will put G.M. Sanford. Yeah, your new name is Jim now. Like, oh, hey Jim, we were talking about you. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little strange. And then they will start offering me a one-way Greyhound ticket down to Joshua Tree.
not sketchy at all.
No, yeah, like you actually do give lectures the Holy Mouse. So I'm like, okay.
Literally a cult that is worshiping your mouse.
So like that's at the time I didn't exactly know what this group was. Like I actually Googled the name. Well, I don't know, it was like back then it was Yahoo or whatever.
Right.
But I went
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves or something like that. The only 2 articles that popped up were the ATF raiding this cult.
Oh my God, they raided the cult
because they were smuggling tobacco and firearms from into the States from Mexico. And like,
why does it have to be Mexico?
It
hurts my soul.
Things that like all it was like saying cult rated, and I'm like I'm like, okay, this is what a good
all
time
these
to
gold bars in the shape of your mouse. And I'm kidding.
I'm like, right?
You find all this currency and it's got your face on it, and it's their mouse. Well, obviously you didn't go, right?
No, God no. I shortly after that I got a little freaked out and blocked all of them.
It makes for a great story though. It's a legend.
But it's like, so I could actually say he actually has a cult following down in Joshua Tree. And
who are in prison.
Like, we don't know if they are. Last time, they were always in the pictures, were all in monk kind of outfit. They were going over a New Age yoga thing. I'm like, first of all, why?
It's a cover up. Obviously, they got busted.
But so I was like, you know what? They named them that. Now I can't get out just Jim Mouse out of my head.
Well, you've got a lot of different Jim Mouses, or I should say, different appearances of this Jim Mouse, which ends up, honestly, some of them were a little disturbing. Don't you have another story about that?
I have a couple.
Okay, well, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, there's a couple that I actually drew the whole body kind of thing. There's one that actually is like holding its own head up, and that was actually kind of what like
Why'd you look at me like that?
I use that as a kind of the holy mouse, like the mouse head. My friends and I started talking about like who is Jim Mouse, and we were all joking about it. It's like, oh yeah, Jim Mouse is the cousin of this big famous M Mouse, but he's the true actor on the butt. Like we all start building this kind of story behind him.
The lore begins.
The lore begins. I started drawing him like in like human figure. But yeah, but it was funny. Like I was thinking at the time I was drawing it. It's like mouse. Why would you think a mouse actually has? Like I would draw like this Jim with a 6-pack and like big abs, or like it's a mouse. Mouse aren't supposed to be nude. What? Why are you? It's a mouse, for God's sake.
Right. Who was complaining, or what happened?
I was asked to put on this show at this horror-themed donut shop.
Horror?
The scary horror.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, like the eats of the donuts is like a kind of a.
So it's like a horror theme.
But it's like they wanted more of a Tim Burton, like
thriller.
But like. And here I was, all the things I was showing them are like actual
dismemberment
and all this. Like, I'm like, if you want to go here, I have artists that I could actually, we could lean into this.
Yeah.
You know, and the tamest one was my own work. And the gentleman was like, that's too much nudity. We don't want to have that much nudity. I'm like,
it's a mouse.
I literally.
It's drawn.
I had to look at him. I'm like I just like.
It's just so weird.
It was like, wait, what? Like
that goes to show you some curators are weird and have weird rules. And isn't that a lesson too? You cannot win them all.
And the owner had a specific idea of what they want. The folks that I work with, they're like, okay, I want to put an art show. You keep it under PG-13. This is what I like. It has to be like good. The artist actually has to have a thought out style. Some business owners that try to work with, they have such a like strict idea of what they want. Only a few artists can actually portray that.
Right.
You know,
so it's nothing personal. It's just business.
Yeah, it's nothing personal.
As an artist, you're not gonna be able to book every single event that you put yourself into.
Yeah.
You're learning how to apply and fine tune. Do you have like a media kit or a press kit or something that you just send off to curators when you are an artist rather than on the curation side?
That's something that I am learning how to do, because
you're a forever student, just like everyone else.
Of course. And that's the thing, is like I know how to find the art, the actual technical side of stuff. Mm-hmm. The promotion is always harder for me, and that's what I'm always trying to figure out how I could do better with that. The networking, knowing the art.
That's always changing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and never ending. But just keep learning.
The unlearning joke is like Facebook has been my big key where I could actually do most of my stuff.
Right.
Right now, I have done so much. I found out that you actually could go to Facebook jail for promoting too much. And I've actually...
This makes sense that you've been to Facebook jail for promotion.
This is why I have 2 profiles.
Oh, you sneaky.
Because I was like, you know what? I have to find these artists. So I'm going to jump on I have another email, so might as well start another, like...
There you go. Tricks of the trade, everyone.
So, but yeah, it's just...
When you don't have a chair available, make yourself a chair.
Yeah, exactly. The online joke is like people normally like would get banned for like a week or a couple days. At one point, one of my account was banned for 2 months.
Wow, that's
But
a long time.
yeah, like
And I mean, that's also the bread and butter of what you do.
yeah, and they at one point
That affects your income and everything.
at one point they said like I couldn't message people, couldn't do anything like that. I had a Facebook, one of those business pages. I couldn't post on that to my main account, but I had to update it. So that's why I had the other account.
Mhm.
It's like I could actually jump on that, and that account could post, at least give people updates of what's going on.
Well, right now, how can people find you on social media?
You could find us on Facebook at You Are Here. We also have an Instagram account.
It's your curation for the group shows, correct?
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
And then for your own stuff,
You can find me on like the Gabriel M. Sanford project.
Gabriel M. Sanford Project.
Yeah.
I'll post it right here.
And that's with my own. I post everything all the
Again, it's the consistency that makes him wonderful and why you are such a like undying servant to this artist community in Sacramento. So I want to thank you too for everything along the way. High five. It's the least I can do. I made him dinner before he got here. Or no, I mean when he got here. It was a nice spread. No, but we are birthday buddies too. And September 24th for anyone who wants to give us presents. But Libras, you know.
Oh God. Yeah.
Get both of us in a room. Oh my God. It's just,
You can't make a decision to save our lives.
yeah, no. That's why I just did a spread. We cannot be trusted to decide on anything.
Make decision.
This is why we need people like Tony, and I need people like someone else.
We can argue with ourselves. We could take both sides of the
right. I could split myself in two and then take both roles, and I'll just be mad at myself all the time.
Again, as the joke says, it's like I could actually argue with myself on views.
Yeah.
No, and it's really hard to do, but you can do it.
Thank you so much, Gabe. I really appreciate you being here.
I'd love to come back if you ever need anything.
Yeah.
I have a ton of other funny, strange stories to tell.
I'm sure we will have more of these. And I just am so glad that you could be one of my first guest. And you deserve it. You deserve everything that you get because you deserve good things. And you've done good things for a lot of people. Yeah. So on behalf of all Sacramentans, thank you.
Thank you for keeping me
young. No,
keeping me busy.
Well, I look forward to working on new events with you. Actually, someday Retreat will be back, and I look forward to that day. But until then, we'll keep doing this, and I will be there at the February 1st show.
You're here hosting a show at the East Street Gallery.
1115 East Street.
Yes,
the address. And we will both be there, so you can come say hello. And what's the opening time for that?
From 3 to 9.
3 p.m. to 9 p.m. on February 1st.
Yes.
Got it. Is that a Saturday or Friday?
That's a Saturday. That is going to be the kickoff for the show.
We'll see you guys over at East Street Gallery. All right, cool. Thank you. See you later. Bye.